Hi there. Welcome back to the Kindness Advantage. I'm your host, Cindy Rowe, and I am excited to have you because the Kindness Advantage is a short podcast where in 10 minutes or less, you'll discover ways to infuse kindness into every corner of your life. Are you ready to get started? Well, today I am talking about um, something that I think a lot of workplaces need to know, and that's the power of recognition. So I believe it can help transform workplaces, relationships, and even your self confidence. Have you ever noticed that a simple thank you or great job can completely change somebody's day? Maybe you've been on the receiving end of recognition at just the right moment. And when you're feeling like unseen or undervalued, and that one comment, that one acknowledgement creates a ripple effect that boosts your morale, strengthens the relationship or the connection that you have with that person. So, the next 10 minutes, this is what we're going to talk about why recognition matters, especially in the workplace, along with kindness and the science behind it, right? And simple and effective ways to integrate recognition into your daily routine. So, if you are ready, let's go and dig in. All right. So, I've said this before people don't just work for paychecks, and they work for purpose, appreciation, a sense of belonging. There have been studies that show that people would work for a kinder boss over a raise. So it's not always about money or the financial impact. Yes, we do need to get paid, but we spend more time at the workplace than we do at home. And we need to know that we are valued and appreciated and recognized for our work. So, studies show that employees who feel recognized and valued are more engaged, more productive, and more likely to stay with their organization, which in this state of the way that things are in corporate America right now, people are so disengaged. They're disconnected at the workplace. So having appreciation and recognition programs in place really can solidify those great workers to stay. So something else that I found interesting is recognition doesn't always have to come from the leadership, somebody above you. It can be peer recognition, and it's just as impactful. I share a story in my keynote about one coworkers would find ways to leave one of these our peers. And the culture of that organization was very, very good, very strong, and we all felt valued and appreciated. So when you've had a coworker actually say, I really appreciate how you've handled that situation, or man, you crushed that presentation, you hit it out of the ballpark, way to go. Those moments of acknowledgement can ignite motivation and actually create an environment where people feel seen. And that's really, really important. So, what happens to our brain when we receive recognition? So, I did a little digging, and um, science actually has shown this that when someone acknowledges our efforts, our brain actually create a big impact. So when you have that lack of recognition, that can actually lead to disengagement. And employees that don't feel valued are twice as likely to go job hunting. So if you are a leader or a team member, having recognition and appreciation efforts as part of your company culture isn't just something nice to have, it's actually essential. So, how do we practice this? How do we incorporate this into our routine? Um, and I've shared this before, like find ways to tell somebody that they've done something right versus always telling them what they've done wrong. Making a right list and sharing it. Um, so be specific and timely. So really appreciate how you handled that difficult situation and you handled it with patience and professionalism. That means more than just way to go. Great job. So, and making sure that it's timely, like right afterwards or close to the time frame is so critical. And using different types of recognition. It doesn't have to be this big, extravagant, fancy recognition program. It could simply be a handwritten note. I always say sticky notes and a Sharpie are the best way, easiest way, cheapest way to tell somebody they've done a good job. And if you're like me, you'll keep them around as little reminders. So, but even like a shout out at meetings, starting meetings with celebrations and recognition, just to recognize their efforts. I will like to say this, that you need to know how people want to be recognized on your team. For me, you can shout it from the rooftops. But for some people, they would just rather have that quiet pat on the back. You did a great job. We're so proud of you. Keep up the great work. So you really need to know that because that will be very important if you want them to continue to do the actions that you want them to do. Um, the other thing is, recognizing growth and not just outcomes. So sometimes we get focused on results, but not really the effort and the progress that they're making. So when we recognize someone for improving a skill or stepping outside their comfort zone, like I always talk about the little mouse. Recognize that and say, yeah, I so appreciated you talking about that, bringing that to my attention, speaking up during that meeting. I know that's outside of your comfort zone, but it's really important. So, also like taking on a new challenge or new task that creates that growth mindset, it really does encourage more of that behavior. So just like kindness, recognition is contagious. When you take the time to acknowledge a habit, other people will follow. It creates this culture of positivity and making people feel like they want to uplift each other. And that goes beyond the workplace, right? Recognition actually can strengthen friendships and families, other types of relationships, and even the relationship with your somebody for their effort. It could be a coworker, a friend, family member, your child, but take a moment and let them know that they're seen and appreciated. So, recapping our little conversation today, recognition boosts morale, engagement, and retention, which is so important now. Acknowledgement triggers dopamine, which enhances our motivation, and simple, specific, and timely recognition actually creates a positive and powerful ripple effect. I thank you so much for joining me today. Let's try to make recognition a habit, not in our workplace, but in every aspect of our life. Because when we lift each other up, we create an environment where kindness and success make sure you follow along so you don't miss the next episode. Until next time, remember that together we create waves of change through kindness.